In this video, I'm going to break down my design that I entered into the EthanJDesign collaboration that he did for Halloween. And I'm going to give away 4 PSDs that'll really give you a deep dive into what I did in this project. We'll start off with Pumpkinhead Zion, as I've labeled it here. Some of these layers won't make sense until I open the whole thing up. So basically, this is the body that I puppet warped to be holding Zion's head, because he's actually holding a basketball. This is just some shading that I added in later. I'm not sure what this background layer is. So then this is just a black soft brush that I brushed in for more shading around the edges for when the cloak hangs over him. Most of these are just black brushes for the shading. So there I added a green screen layer because there's going to be some glow right there. Right here, I took this slider, and here if I move this, you can see I took this black slider and I moved it all the way. If you click Alt, pull one side, and moved it all the way back. That just makes it look really realistic and takes it off of the deep blacks. And then brushed it on his fingers for some green glow. Then that's just another black brush at the 85% opacity. There's his head. That's what it looked like with no camera raw filter on it. That is what it looked like after I got done putting it on there. I'll show you what I did for the camera raw filter. So I took the exposure up, took the highlights down, the shadows up, and then left the whites where they're at. Brought the blacks up, and then I just put it on the texture and the clarity pretty hard. Went down to detail, sharpened it up a little bit, and that's how it looks. So then I just went around the edges of his face where the fingers would be putting shadows on his face, and I put a black brush there, brushed around his nose a little bit because the light was going to be coming from his eye. Did that same thing to the layer where I pulled the black slider all the way down here. So then I covered his eye with a white fill. Added more shading to his face. Then I used a lightning brush that I have and painted green around his eye. And did another one there, one more. And that's how it originally looked. So the filter is overlay. And then I just gave it a green color over all of them. And over all that. The group is set to overlay. And then with these sliders, oh no, I didn't do anything to that. So then I added a green brush set to overlay, another green brush set to screen for some extra glow. Darkened up his hair a little bit, make it look more realistic. Darkened up everything except for the eye. There's the head that I used, the pumpkin head. There's some shading. Give it some contrast with the curves layer. That's what that looks like. It looks like I just pulled the brightness down a little bit. Put some glow in between the teeth. Added some green to it. Then I started adding some glow around the the teeth, the nose, the eyes, a little bit of glow around his body. And with the cloak over top, it looks pretty good. Then I added some green glow to the edges of the cloak, darkened it up a little bit where it needs to be dark. Added some harsh green glow right where his face is glowing. And then a layer set to screen with just some faded glow around him. So for KD, I added, that's basically just his cutout, the Gaussian blur painted over his body, everything but his face pretty much, made in black and white. Turned up the brightness, made it a little more contrasty. That whole layer is set to linear dodge add. Then I added a bunch of cracks, which I think are lightning brushes again. And then those are set to divide, and they have a green glow on the outside of them. Then I put some glow on his eyes, that's set to overlay. Put outer glow, or that's the inner glow. Then I put the outer glow outside. Then I made it look like smoke's coming out of his eyes. It's not the best look. I probably could have done a better job with that, but I knew it was going to be small, so you wouldn't really be able to see the details in that. And then added some green glow as a drop shadow to that. So then I added his jersey back and the ball back because only his body should be like, you know, looking like a ghost, I guess. And I think I just added some brightness to the ball and to his jersey to make it look like his body was glowing on it. So it was just white brushes set to screen, one set to normal. Did that same thing with the blacks, just took it down a little bit so it's not harsh on the deep blacks. Then I added that, which is basically just to put this inner glow around his body and outer glow to make it look like he's glowing. So Steph's was a little more intense. This is just a jersey piece that I added on and was matching his jersey. You'll see that later. It's supposed to look like the back of the neck of the jersey, like right here on the inside. And so this is the first skeleton head that I added. There's a green shadow coming up from the bottom right, which is where the light is. Used a puppet warp to make it look like that. Added more green glow around all of the hard edges. And brightened up that eye a little bit. Then put some green on his face, the inside of his face. Added more green, using the screen layer. This, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, couldn't make it look how I wanted to, but basically just messed around until I got it sort of how I wanted it. Added some wire looking stuff in there. Then added more green glow. I probably went a little bit too heavy in the end on the green glow, especially on the final thing. But in the moment, it looked right, so we went with it. That is a lens flare brush that I used as, it's like a droid skull with a light beaming out of the eye. Then that is another layer set to linear dodge add on top of that. I think it's the same exact thing. There's another neck with some green inner shadow. That's what I use, the light source, set the linear dodge add. The last neck, another green inner shadow on that. Then I made that one black, added some light on top of it. There's the jersey over top, so you can see what I'm talking about with the jersey in the back now, which you can't even see, but wanted to make sure it was right. Had some glow around him, made him darker. Put some glow on the neck with another regular and a screen layer. Then I added bones to the inside of his shoulders, kind of make it look like his arms were like a see-through, and I put two different things on him. One's linear burn, one's color dodge. I don't know why I did them differently, but just thought it was cool. Turned his whole body green. Then I added the skull to the top right. Use another screen layer to brush on some soft green glow. Added some shading with the black brush, set to hard mix. Then I added some lights coming out of his eyes. That's just a white brush. And then another white layer painted on the inside of his nose to make it look like his whole head is like, hollow, as it sort of should be. And then use the green screen brush to make his face glow even more. That is his part of his hair, I think. There's the rest of his hair, yeah. And so that came right off of a Steph Curry cutout. Looks something like that. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. Then added some green to his hair, green to the bottom of his chin, darkened it up so it looked like it mixed in a little bit better, added more glow to his face, and then another screen layer, and there is a mouth guard, because he's always chewing on a mouth guard. Put that in between the teeth. Just cut that out, put some green glow on it since everything else is going around there. Added some white, added a black brush just to give it some shading and make it look like it fit in. Then I found this head, thought that looked cool. Added some green glow over top of that. I have two of those, so I had one in the background and then one in front. And so basically it looks like his face is glowing. Added some more green screen brush right there. Went heavy on the green brush with the screen layer mask, or layer style on it. Then added some major glow to the inside of the head. Then added these eyes. Honestly, I think looking back now, not a huge fan of the eyes, but I'd just leave them out. So for the overall composition, we have the sky layer with some clouds added. I just kind of masked out the bottom of it. Then I added a moon and some white glow. That's the house up on the hill. Tried to make that blend in with the background, just a blue layer set to multiply. Then I used these little green glows to make the windows glow, sort of like I think he did in his. Then I added Zion to the background, gave him some shading from below, added a hill, put some Gaussian blur on it because it's in the background. So I guess it doesn't really make sense because they're in the background too, but whatever. Then I added that same multiply blue layer to blend that in. A little more shading. Added in Steph. Gave him some inner glow. With some shading from the bottom. Then added in the other hill. Did the same stuff to that one. Then I put some green glow on the top of each of the hills. And then I added in KD and put some shading below him as well. There's the tree line. Use that same blue multiply technique to blend it in with some shading in the bottom. The neighborhood with the green inner glow trim on top to make it look like the green light's hitting them. The pumpkin with the shadow sitting over there. Blend it in with that blue again. Brighten up the pumpkin face. Put some orange glow around it. Put some green glow around the whole thing with the green screen, using that same technique I did with removing it from the deep blacks. Then add some shading and some light for the school bus, which is right there. And on that we have inner glow of green, and I think this color of blue is supposed to make it darker. Then we added a white brush and probably a red or orange brush set to hard mix to make it look like the lights were on. Then I kind of put a brush in front of the bus to make it look like his headlights were beaming onto that house. And then I think this is just sort of a blue color overlay thing that I did set to screen. And then a green one set to screen where all the green is glowing. There's the mailbox sitting in front. The blue overlay to blend it in. And then added these, so some light had to be added to the bottom of the mailbox to make it look like they were actually there. And then our logos and some last final touches. That was a filter that I put on it with some coloring changes. Another color change. Minor glow right there. That's just a white to black layer set to overlay. And the rest of these are just color tweaks. And there you have it. There's the final product. Overall, I think it turned out pretty good. It was a little bit too green, I think, in the end. Wish it was like, you know, more realistically colored. Like, I think I was doing a good job with the green, but then I just kind of got carried away. And the whole thing just got like too green and glowy for me by the end of it. But, you know, it's a learning experience, not too bad. I appreciate EthanJ for putting on the collab and for featuring my work in his video. I'll link his video in the description of where he looked over the contestants so you can see everybody else's submissions. Thanks for watching, and if you look down below, you'll find the 4 free PSDs to go through each of these yourself.